Mm-hmm. It's rolling.
Hi, my name's Laura. I am finishing week 4 of rotator cuff surgery. I had a fully separated 1 centimeter tear of my supraspinatus, and so it's 4 weeks after, and I thought I'd share a couple best practices and lessons learned from the experience. So first of all, I hurt myself doing D-ball cleans at CrossFit, an exercise I probably won't do again. I am 51 and I know I had worn shoulders anyway. So it just, I was super surprised that it caused it, but it did. After the surgery, I was off drugs. I had surgery Monday and I went off any hard drugs on day 3 and just took ibuprofen after that. Here's a bit important thing. You'll see some videos and people talk about day 3 where it's super painful. And I have to tell you, this is not that painful of a surgery. The first 2 days you're on decent drugs. And when you go off on the 48 hours after, you're allowed to take a shower. And I heard on the line these people saying they were crying when they took their sling off. And so I was super scared about it. And let me share with you a piece of advice I have for how me and my husband handled that, which was super helpful, which is breathing. And that helps you not just with initially getting your arm out of the sling, but also when you're doing your own physical therapy exercises. So here's how it worked. If you were to take your arm out for the first time, once you get the sling off your body, my husband held my arm and I would breathe in, and every time I would breathe out, he would lower it just slightly. So breathe in and then lower. And that's how I got my arm down the first time. Now, in week 4, it's no big deal. I don't need to do any of that. It's super easy to take my arm in and out and move it just to the elbow is easily, it's easy. The other thing is I had a game ready ice machine, which is the kind that is super expensive to rent. It was $400 for 2 weeks. It does, it runs in cycles. So I had 30-minute on, 30-minute off, and it does compression and icing. So there's a lot of supplying of ice. My husband ended up making ice in solo cups or bigger pieces so that it would last longer through the night, especially when I was trying to let him sleep. But that game ready machine, as good as it is, sucks if you're trying to get in and out of it yourself. The attachment point is way over here, which I couldn't reach, and it also was not easy to get in and out. So just realize that. And you really can't do this without someone there to help you the first at least really 4 weeks, because I still can't take most of my shirts off. And on the clothing part, putting stuff on is not hard. It's the taking off that's hard. And I still, if I have a tight shirt on like this, I don't think I can take this off myself. But one lesson I learned just 2 days ago was the man's way of just taking the back and pulling it over your shoulder, which works for stretchy shirts, but not really for tighter shirts that women might wear. So I'm still reliant on my husband to get me out of my shirts. Also, do not get in a fight with your husband when you're relying on him to take off your clothes. That's why last Wednesday night I slept in my clothes, so FYI. The other thing was, there's a lot of people talking about the need for a recliner. I borrowed my neighbor's and I used it for the first week or so. But I found it super hard to get in and out of. Maybe it was the recliner, it's a little jerky, and the first week or so you don't want to be jerking, doing any motions like that. So in the end, and even today, I'm on my couch with a stack of pillows, and I wedge myself in the corner between pillows that are just where a seat would be in the back, and I'm kind of lying in that crack with my feet up on an ottoman or the couch, and that to me has worked way better than the recliner ever worked. And note that when I had tried the couch out before my surgery, and I thought it was super painful for me before my surgery, your arm hurts a little bit, and when I would fall asleep on there, I could never get comfortable. But when you're in your sling, it's really totally fine. And I think that's it. So I'm in week 4. I have 2 more weeks. Hold on a second, there's some plane overhead. I have 2 more weeks left in my
Start that after 2 more weeks back. Start over.
what is this called again?
Just sling. It's not over, say after 2 more weeks.
I have 2 more weeks left in my sling. For now, all I can do is passive motion with my arm unless I'm just raising my arm to my elbow. So I'm doing a lot of lying down, holding my arm and moving it as far back as I can, and I can't get it to 180 yet. I can maybe get to 165. There's a huge range of normal for that. And I just started to try, if this was my hurt arm, doing it so that my arm could go to my waist, but that's super hard for me now. So I'm very excited to get to 6 weeks in 2 more weeks and be able to get rid of this thing and then have a little more normal motion in the arm. So right now you're just trying to mitigate injury. Don't do anything that makes you fall or put you at risk of falling. And even though I can walk around, I really do it super carefully because you never know, if you kind of trip and put your arm out, you're going to hurt yourself these first 6 weeks. So for those of you that are CrossFitters like me, I've kind of done a lot of research and talked to both my surgeon and my physical therapist about what you can do these first 6 weeks, and not that much. So nothing that jumps or bounces your shoulder. All I'm doing is walking and doing walking lunges carefully and squats, air squats, no weight, just air squatting, and being careful not to jostle my arm too much. I didn't really start those until the middle or end of week 2. And that's all I'm going to do for the next couple weeks. And I don't know if there's really so much more I'm going to add to that right after, but you can move, and I would encourage you to walk around and at least do walking around your neighborhood as soon as you can. So good luck. Hope this helped, and take care.